Christ.
Let us spend some time with today's saint, Saint Ignatius of Antioch, and with our Gospel from Luke chapter 11, 37 to 41. What strikes us in the life of Saint Ignatius of Antioch, he is a first century saint, at the end of the first century, beginning of the second century, that a couple of decades after Jesus' death, he belongs to the very first generation of Christians. He elaborates an in-depth theology of the Lord. He is interested in the mystery of Christ. He contemplates his life and thinks deeply, theologically about him. This shows that for martyrs and for Christians, there is a living reference point which gives us guidance. And what we see in today's Gospel, at that dinner, O you Pharisees, you clean the outside of cup and plate, while inside yourself you are filled with extortion and wickedness. What strikes us in this simple sentence is that Jesus gives a diagnosis of the objective state of the Pharisees, that they have no orientation of heart. They have their own interpretation of the law and practice, but somehow without the living presence of God. They are lost, deeply lost. There is an inertia in every religion, even in every thinking, that we need a living reference point, a living center in which truth or our prayers are anchored. And Jesus restores this divine presence beyond the word. So with him there is no distance between the written word, the teaching of the law, and God's presence. And this is the mystery which was experienced profoundly by the martyrs, by Saint Ignatius of Antioch. It's worth looking up his life. There is a story that in the year 107, Trajan, the emperor, came to Antioch and forced the Christians to choose between apostasy, abandoning their faith, and death. "Who are you, wicked one?" said the emperor when Ignatius was brought before him, "who disobeys my orders? Do not call him wicked. Who are you, wicked one, who disobeys our orders?" "Do not call him wicked," Ignatius answered, "who bears God within him." When the emperor questioned him about his meaning, Ignatius explained that he bore in his heart Christ crucified for his sake. Thereupon the emperor condemned him to be torn to pieces by wild beasts at Rome. Ignatius thanked God, who had so honored him, binding him in the chains of Paul, his apostle. What is certain is that Ignatius was taken to Rome, guarded by soldiers, and with no fear except of losing the martyr's crown. He was devoured by lions in the Roman amphitheatre. They left nothing of his body except a few bones, as he had wished. His words are quoted in the communion verse of the proper of his Mass today. St. Ignatius's few letters that have survived are among the most precious documents of early Christianity. I write to you while I am still alive, but longing for death. My love has been crucified, and there is no desire of earthly things in me. On his way to Rome, St. Ignatius wrote 7 letters to different churches, which breathe the same desire for union with Christ. He exhorts the faithful to union with the Church, through which we are members of Christ. He speaks of the bread of God, which is the flesh of Jesus Christ, and for drink I desire his blood, which is incorruptible love. He welcomes death, that he may be offered as a libation to God, and rise to him. Pray that I may have strength outwardly and inwardly, so that I may be a man of resolution and not simply of words. Thus I shall not only be called a Christian, but shall actually be one. And as a closing thought, the scene with the Emperor Trajan interrogating him, leading his investigation trial, may be legendary, but there is a profound truth in it, that when a martyr is slaughtered, killed by the state, by the spirit of the age, we can trace this decision back to the soul of the leaders, into the souls of the leaders of the age. So when justice suffers, when there is violence, when wars are waged, when social cohesion is just vanishing, as the English puts it, when we are going to the dogs at many levels of human flourishing, it is a sign that this vacuum, this darkness, stems to a huge extent from the hearts and lives and thinking of our leaders. May the example of the martyrs bring us, all of us, including them, a spiritual awakening. Saint Ignatius of Antioch, pray for us.